What's that, Tim? Yeah, I know Deffy does look like he's been gaining a little weight lately. You know Dave making all those videos and everything. I bet he eats a lot of fast food, so ergo, Deffy eats a lot of fast food. And you know what? I think that's the whole reason behind his little chaos pole missing. Trying to shed some pounds. And then I noticed in the video the other day, the back armor off his back legs is missing too. Once again, he's trying to cheat that scale a little bit. What's that? You got a remedy for the situation? Well, I'll tell you what, you go figure out what you're going to do. Let me know at the end, and we'll talk about it, see if it's going to work out. But we're going to discuss Tau tactics today for you and your little buddy here, the fellow fire warriors. Tim, what are you doing, Tim? Get out of the camera, Tim. Thank you, Tim. Tim. Okay, first off, let me start talking about the backbone of any military, the basic infantry unit. And believe it or not, this is what attracted me to the Tau Empire, is the basic fire warrior. I have my basic fire warrior here with his pulse rifle. Now what's unique amongst the basic warrior in the Tau army over any other army in the 40k universe is the range of the infantry rifle, the rapid fire weapon. The Tau rapid fire weapon has a range of 30 inches, whereas most other infantry weapons in the 40k universe only have a range of 24 inches. Let me show you how this impacts your deployment and how effective it can be as an alpha strike weapon. See, I started thinking tactically right off. The battlefield is 4 feet wide, and who do we always play but Marines? Now, our guns are our advantage, strength 5, AP 5. So what you're going to do when you deploy your fire warriors, you're going to deploy them no more than 6 inches out in the field, betting on the average Marine mentality. So we're going to put our fire warriors 6 inches into the field. Now the Marine, the average Marine you're going to fight, with their aggressive nature, they're going to put theirs the full 1 foot deployment into the battle zone. Turn 1, if the Marines don't steal initiative, you break out the pulse rifles. Pulse rifle with a 30-inch range. On turn 1, you're hitting Marines. This rod represents 30 inches. So every one of your fire warriors is getting off Alpha Strike capability. Alpha Strike is immensely important with the Tau. Alpha Strike capability, AP 5, Strength 5 from every fire warriors. If the Marines steal initiative and they try to shoot with their bolt guns with the 24-inch range, they're not going to be able to hit your Tau. Your Tau will be safe at least for the first turn. Now the fire warriors are kind of unique in the Tau army in that you must have at least 1 squad of fire warriors per army. They range in anywhere from numbers between 6 and 12 at 10 points per model. So you're talking a maximum of 120 for your standard models or a minimum of 6. Now 12 is a good number because 12 is what fits in the Devilfish, which I'll go into in the Devilfish section. Now about the only option you can give as far as weapons for the fire warriors is you can have the fire warriors replace their pulse rifle with a pulse carbine as carried here by a Pathfinder troop. Now what the pulse carbine does, it has the same weapons profile as the pulse rifle. Pretty much every weapon in the Tau army is a 5.5, with the exception of the big guns. It's AP 5, Strength 5. What that does is it turns it from a rapid fire weapon down into an assault 1, and also pinning, which has its advantages and disadvantages. But what attracted me to the army in the beginning was that big 30-inch range for this gun, and being able to reach out across the board and hit people first round with first shots. Pulse carbine, don't like it too much because it reduces your range to 18 inches, but then you also get the advantage of pinning. So you got to think if you want to shoot and move, or if you're going to be a stationary, basically pillbox firing a big strength 5 weapon into people. Now one of your troops can be exchanged out for a sergeant. So let's send Bob home here and pull in a sergeant. That's my paint scheme on the sergeants with the red helmet, so I'll know which one's the sergeant. And he's got a drone controller in his hand. Now a sergeant costs an extra 10 points for the guy to be upgraded to a sergeant, so now you're starting to increase the point cost of your fire warrior team. And you got to remember, fire warriors don't last long. So you got to sit there and think, is it worth to pay the extra points to get the sergeant? Because what the sergeant does is he opens up the armory for different items that you can purchase. One of the main advantages of taking a sergeant, and they're not called sergeants, I'm just calling them that so that you guys can relate to what he actually does. But one of the main reasons to take a sergeant is his ability to get a drone controller, and that's what he's got in his hand there. The drone controller allows the sergeant to take with the troop up to 2 either gun drones. This is a gun drone, has a twin-link pulse carbine. Same weapon that the Pathfinder could carry on him, but this is twin-link, so it's a little bit more reliable in hitting. Strength 5, AP 5, like pretty much every other weapon. But it also has the pinning capability. He can take one of those, or he can take a shield drone. This is the shield drone I've made up for my troop. The shield drone grants a +4 invulnerable save, but it's only one +4 invulnerable save to the entire squad. So if you're going to take a wound and you want to take advantage of that +4 invulnerable save, you have to put it on the shield drone. Now what that means is if you save that +4, or rather if you fail that +4 invulnerable save, you've now lost the drone. Another item you can take is marker drones, which is this here. This here is a marker drone. See the marker lights there? Now that's the most common option that you take. He can take 2 of any drone, so you can take 2 shield drones if he wants to grant 2 +4 invulnerable saves to the unit, but once again, if those invulnerable saves are failed, you're going to lose those shield drones. Another option is to take 2 gun drones. Now what those gun drones do is they give the unit the ability to pin targets. But you know, fighting Marines most of the time, as we do, it's almost inevitably that they pass their leadership test. But you have 2 twin-link pulse carbines, which offer that pinning test. Or the most common option is the 2 shield drones. The only drawback to the shield drones is the shield drones are heavy weapons. So if your troop moves, then you can't fire those marker lights from those shield drones. It's a heavy one. Also, this is your maximum troop squad. 14 counting the 2 shield drones with the drone controller. They can no longer fit in the TOW transport. The TOW transport has a maximum capability of 12, and shield drones count as units. So if you want to put these guys in a transport, the Devilfish, you're going to have to sacrifice 2 of your infantrymen and substitute the drones in those slots so they can load up and take off in the Devilfish.